Welcome to Group 5's presentation on virtual private networks, brought to you by Justin Hall, Kim Hyreedy, Mitch Frost, and Keith Wheeler. There are numerous benefits for VPNs. First of all, they're cheaper. Instead of having to pay for expensive dedicated data connections, VPNs provide a secure connection between the internal network and an external computer over the internet. And that can't be overstated. Some of those dedicated lines are frighteningly expensive. It's easier to scale because it taps into the available public lines for connections instead of having to buy extra connections for added locations. Again, that can be dramatically more expensive to go the dedicated route. Ease of use. When set up properly, a VPN can connect automatically as part of a network sign-on. And it can block online trackers. A VPN can block the advertisers and companies from logging onto your internet traffic and logging what you're doing. Some of the drawbacks. It does take specially trained personnel to work on the complex VPN server and client connections. An organization's reliability and performance over remote connections is also heavily dependent on an internet service provider. VPN providers can create different products and software that have compatibility issues because of varying VPN standards. That translates out to problems with scalability because of the divergent solutions across the different vendors. Lastly, the use of mobile devices may add additional security concerns because of their wireless connections. So why a VPN then? Well, with the recent decisions about net neutrality, some may want to be able to conduct their affairs online without major internet providers looking in. There is a lot that was said about net neutrality and all that it might bring. And so VPNs increasingly are becoming much more attractive to a lot of people. Much of the internet is localized to your present location. While some of that may be simple, like news stories and weather, other parts of the world are restricted from resources because of more heavy-handed reasons. China's tangles with Google, for example. With a VPN, you can reach resources from your home location without being hampered by local restrictions. You can also set up site-to-site VPNs to ensure different locations have a secured way of transferring files and information. Again, a VPN is significantly cheaper than a dedicated data line. The 6 most common VPN protocols are thus. Number 1, the Internet Protocol Security, or simply IPsec. IPsec is used to secure internet communications across an IP network. IPsec secures internet protocol communications by authenticating the session and encrypts each data packet during the connection. It operates in 2 modes, transport mode and tunneling mode, to protect data transfer between 2 different networks. The transport mode encrypts the message in the data packet, and the tunneling mode encrypts the entire data packet. IPsec can also be used with other security protocols to enhance the security system. Number 2, L2TP, or Layer 2 tunneling. The protocol is a tunneling protocol that is usually combined with another VPN security protocol like IPsec to create a highly secure VPN connection. It creates a tunnel between the L2TP connection points, and IPsec protocol encrypts the data and handles the secure communication between the tunnel. Number 3 is the point-to-point tunneling protocol, or PPTP. Creates a tunnel and encapsulates the data packet. It uses the point-to-point protocol PPP to encrypt the data between the connection. PPTP is one of the most widely used VPN protocols and has been in use since the time of Windows 95. Apart from Windows, PPTP is also supported on Mac and Linux. Then we have the Secure Sockets Layer, SSL, and the Transport Layer Security, TLS. SSL and TLS create a VPN connection where the web browser acts as the client and user access is restricted to specific applications inside of the entire network. SSL and TLS protocol is most commonly used by online shopping websites and service providers. Web browsers switch to SSL with ease and almost no action required from the user, since web browsers come integrated with SSL and TLS. SSL connections have HTTPS in the beginning of the URL instead of HTTP. OpenVPN. OpenVPN is an open source VPN that is useful for creating point-to-point and site-to-site connections. The reason why we included it on this list because it uses a custom security protocol based on SSL and TLS to accomplish its intentions. And lastly, number 6, SSH, or Secure Shell. It creates the VPN tunnel through which the data transfer happens and also ensures that the tunnel is encrypted. SSH connections are created by an SSH client, and data is transferred from a local port onto the remote server through the encrypted tunnel. So what types of connections and providers might there be? For site-to-site connections, the granddaddy of networking, Cisco, is heavily involved. The Cisco VPN software is one of the most popular solutions for small business. It allows site-to-site IPsec VPN tunnel to be created between two Cisco routers. OpenVPN is an open source alternative to the other large site-to-site VPN options. Again, using a custom version of the SSL TLS type VPN protocol, OpenVPN has become extremely popular, gathering a large following. OpenVPN is even built into some routers like the Ubiquiti EdgeMax router platform. For remote access, an example would be TunnelBear. TunnelBear provides an easy-to-use VPN option for those who are unfamiliar with some of the more complicated solutions. TunnelBear specializes in anonymizing a user's connection, allowing them to appear as if they are connecting from the web from anywhere in the world. TunnelBear is available on all major consumer OS platforms. And we had to just throw in there TorGuard. It aims to help the BitTorrent crowd, allowing for a more anonymous connection to the web. Official support is available for Android, iOS, Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. So our chosen solution comes from a company called LogMeIn, Hamachi. Now, as an aside, we've spent hours, 10, 15, maybe even longer, trying to get OpenVPN working. Ultimately, because we couldn't demonstrate its connectivity, we finally had to give it up and look for something else, which brings us to the pros and the very first bullet point, which I wholeheartedly love. It's easy to use and set up. Configurations are done via the LogMeIn servers. LogMeIn is a company that's been around for a long time, allowing for remote sessions of help or other kinds of connectivity. VPN is encrypted using AES 256-bit encryption, which is extremely secure. The version we're using is free for up to 5 computers, and it includes chat between the computers. Cons: there's no two-factor authentication on the VPN connections themselves. It is available from their website for the account login, but I think the spirit of the assignment wanted us to research two-factor authentication on our chosen VPN. And while you can do it, it may not be in the fashion we were hoping for. More than 5 computers requires an additional license to be purchased, and it does not allow for much manual configuration. However, all of the manual configurations we tried to do in OpenVPN makes me believe that's actually a pro. So as far as protocols used in Hamachi, the server will monitor connections through these 2 ports, the TCP 12975 and 32976. It will listen for connections through there. If for some reason it doesn't work, Hamachi will then default down to port 443 via secure sockets layer, which is essentially HTTPS. For the clients, connections are made via UDP 17771. Again, if the previous fail, then Hamachi will attempt to connect through TCP 443, but not through secure sockets layer in this case. The final step that Hamachi will take is to send an error to the client to describe what went wrong with the connection. Okay, I'm going to record the process of using LogMeIn Hamachi to download a file. Now, we've previously set up the server on Justin's computer, and he's also provided a shared folder. So first thing I'll do, notice the network connections, there's a Hamachi network connection already configured. So when I turn that on, it immediately opens up there. We can also see through the system here that it's registered, and it even has an IPv6 address. So from here and from this IP address, this direct tunnel is provided by Hamachi. We're going to browse, and here's our folder. Now I'm going to download this to here. Okay. So now we have Joseph Smith's First Prayer in my downloads folder on my computer. So this is one of the great functions of a virtual private network, is that you can connect to remote systems. And so these are our sources. We actually culled many additional sources to try and bring this presentation to you. VPNs are a very attractive thing, and so we hope this presentation works for you.